All right, y'all, let's talk mobile and display advertising. So, what is display advertising? I am hoping that many of you guys that are listening to this have at least a little bit of an idea of what mobile display is. If not, we're going to explain it right now. So, have you ever visited a website that's related to a product or service that you're searching for? And then a couple days later, you're browsing the internet, you're reading an article completely unrelated to the product and service that you searched for earlier in the week, when all of a sudden an ad pops up for the product and service you searched for a couple days ago. I'm assuming you're shaking your head yes. I'm assuming you're like, yes, that has happened to me before. It's reading my mind. How is it doing this? These are display ads. So here you can see on the screen, as an example, these banner ads that pop up across the top, that are along the sides, next to an article, sometimes show up in the middle of the article that you're reading. These are display ads, and display ads are served to us based off of a ton of different variables. They're based off of our online behaviors, our physical, real-time, in-person behaviors, places that we've been, whether we were there yesterday, 6 months ago, a year ago. It's one of the best digital tactics to reach and get in front of the masses when it comes to reaching your target audience. Like I mentioned, display ads are often shown in browsers. So this is whether you are searching on a mobile device, on your laptop, your tablet. And then a lot of us have probably seen these inside of apps when we're using apps on our phone. So it's important to note that the primary objective of a display ad is not lead generation. They are not meant and built with the purpose of instant conversion. Display ads are best served for brand awareness. The goal is for us to get your business in front of as many of the right people as possible. And you guys have probably heard that statistic where they say that it takes people seeing something 7 to 10 times before it's something they actually remember. Display ads are meant to help you remember something. So the success with display ads really lies in targeting the right user at the right time, the right place. So I want to move on to some of the benefits of display advertising. Why should this be a digital medium that you should be considering for your business? So better brand awareness, consistency, and visibility, right? These ads are meant to meet the user where they're at. So while they are interacting, searching for content that they are interested in, you just so happen to pop up. It makes it feel more relevant to the user. Display ads give us the ability to reach consumers on the go during their daily browsing habits. So anywhere that they're at any time, you could be potentially serving a display ad to them. You're able to target and retarget your ideal audience based off of interests, demographics, and more. So there's so many different ways that we can get in front of them, but the best part being that we can reach them right where they're at, no matter where they're at, whether they are on their phone in the car, on their laptop at work, you're able to reach them on the go. And you're able to reach consumers at every stage of the buying journey. So display advertising provides us the ability to connect with people no matter where they're at, whether they just so happen to fit the demographic of someone who might use your service or product, someone who's actually visited websites related to your products. So that's kind of, during the buying process. And then retargeting gives us the ability to target them after the buying process, after the buying journey. So it really is a great option as far as connecting with people consistently through that journey, whether they're kind of just interested in the product or service or they are ready to pull the trigger. Display ads can meet them in all levels of that buying journey. Display ads also partner really well with other marketing strategies. So if you're already doing some digital marketing advertising, you're doing some SEO or SEM, you're doing an email marketing, paid social, whatever that looks like, display ads are a really great addition to that. They can work really nicely in a way to kind of give us different targeting and retargeting tactics to maintain brand consistency across different digital marketing avenues. Another great way, they actually work really well with print advertising. So if you have got a print ad that is currently frequenting a specific community, a specific neighborhood, a specific demographic, being able to also set up your display ads to be served to that neighborhood, that community, whatever that looks like, being able to now serve them both physically and digitally is also a great benefit here. So it partners really well with other marketing strategies that you might already have in place. So I want to move on to campaign tactics and capabilities. I'm going to preface with saying that when it comes to display, there are so many options on how you can get your ad in front of the right user. And it really comes down to taking that intentional time to figure out which one will work best for you, your business, your industry, your goals. So with display, a ton of optimization is required. It is not a great set it and forget it type of digital marketing campaign. It requires a lot of let me put this out there, watch what happens, make some changes, watch what happens, and continue to break it down until it's performing the best of its ability. So, there's the time that goes into that. It's not just a up one and done. So I want to start here, just kind of go through some of the different tactics that are some of the more popular ones and how they can provide benefit for your business. So the first one that a lot of people are familiar with display is referred to as a geofencing tactic. So geofencing is location-based targeting, where we quite literally create a digital fence, a virtual fence on a map, and you target users that are inside of that defined area. So you can target people instantly, meaning the second they walk into that fence, they've got the ability to potentially be served an ad. What we recommend is setting that recency a little bit longer. So you can set that recency up to 30 days, meaning if I walk into that fence and then I leave that fence, I'm still eligible to receive your ad for up to 30 days after being there. So an example of this would be, let's say a veterinarian wants to target pet owners in their community. So they decide they are going to geofence all of the competing veterinarians to target their clientele. And then they also want to target pet stores, grooming facilities, places where pet owners could be frequenting. So this geofencing tactic would be a great avenue for them to consider because it gives them the ability to start to collect user device information for people frequenting those geofenced areas, and then they are able to serve their ad to those users at a later date or instantly. So the event targeting kind of goes hand in hand with geofence targeting. And here at Hyport, this is one that we love to be able to implement for businesses. So with event targeting, that is when you can actually target an audience attending a specific event during a predetermined period of time and then serve ads to them following the event. So we take that digital fence, right, that digital net essentially, and we lay it over and trace the area where the event is happening. Once the user enters that geofence location with their mobile device during that set time frame of the event, they have then got potential to become part of your target audience for retargeting in the future. So an example of this would be, let's say you own a company that builds decks and fences, and there's a home show happening on Saturday and Sunday this weekend in your community. Event targeting would give you the ability to draw a fence around the convention center where the home show is happening and collect user device information into an audience pool based off of the people that are inside of that convention center. The goal here being that once the event is over, we can then take that user device information and send ads to those people, knowing that they are likely a target audience of who you're trying to reach because they recently attended the home show. Now, it's important to know, not to expect to collect every single device that's there. In order for a device to be collected, they have to be inside that target area on the specific day and time that you mention. They have to have their location settings turned on. They have to have their phone, their internet open, their network service on. So there's a ton of different variables that'll determine whether or not a device is able to be collected. Another variable depending on how strong the network or the service is there. If it's a huge, massive event, sometimes cell service can be a little difficult. And so there's different factors that go in. So just have realistic expectation on how many devices you could or could not collect, but it is a great tactic to have put into place to have potential benefit moving forward. So still building off of geofencing, this is what we refer to as an addressable geofencing tactic. So this also is one that a lot of you are probably familiar with. So with addressable geofencing, you can target an already curated address list. So if you've got a list of addresses of different businesses or homes, whatever that is, that you want to serve your display ads to, or you can create a new list based off of demographic and geographic targeting that can usually be built inside of some sort of display platform. So let's use the example that I used earlier. Let's say that you already send print advertising to certain neighborhoods within your community, or let's say that you've got a neighborhood in mind that you want to send ads to. You can take those physical addresses of those homes in that neighborhood, upload it, and use that as your targeting for your display ads, meaning everybody who is within that address list then becomes a potential target for your ad. Now, on the flip side, let's say that you don't have an address list, but you know exactly who you're trying to get in front of. I'm going to use that veterinarian example again. If you're a veterinarian, you want to curate an addressable campaign and you want to reach your target audience, which is males and females ages 24 to 65 who own pets and have a household income of 150K plus. You can actually take that demographic information and take your geographic area that you want to target and build a targeting profile, curate a list of every potential user device that matches that profile that you build out. And then they all become potential targets for your campaign. So this tactic does lean very, very heavily on brand awareness. I like to kind of think of this tactic like door-to-door sales. So yes, they might fit your target demographic. Yes, they might live in the area that you're trying to reach, but they might not be actively looking or needing your product or service right now. So it's a great tactic for those that know, hey, I just want to be in front of these people because I know they're my target audience. They could potentially lead to converting as clients or customers, or could be really great for word of mouth moving forward. And then you have geofarming. So geofarming is not to be confused with geofencing. So geofarming allows you to farm data from the past and serve an ad to that audience. So you are choosing a day, a time, and a location from the past, saying, hey, people that were there at that place during this time, that is my target audience. I want to send ads to them. So an example of this, I live in Dallas, Texas. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but the stadium is right down the road. So I'm just going to use this as an example. You want to target anyone and everyone who attended a Cowboys football game last year. So you pull all of the dates and all of the times of every Cowboys home game from last year. You take the location of the stadium, and then you start to pull and farm user data of everybody who attended. So best practice here with geofarming is that you don't want to farm data more than 12 months prior to when you're running your ad, just because it might not be accurate information anymore. You know, I might not live in that area anymore. I might not be a Cowboys fan anymore. I might not have the same interests or behaviors, so on and so forth. So you don't want to farm past 12 months. And generally, it's important to note that this tactic can be much more expensive than a typical display targeting campaign for reasons you can probably go ahead and determine. You know, we're pulling all of this data, having to go back, collect it from the past, and being able to go back, pull that data is going to require a little bit of a higher dollar amount. So geo-farming, great tactic if you've got the budget to do it. It's a great way, as long as you know the date, the location, time, to be able to pull device information of people that were there that could be your potential audience. Next is, let's talk about keyword search retargeting. So this is one that you guys have probably had some conversations about, or at least heard some conversations about. You're like, how the heck did I get this ad? I was just searching for this the other day. So keyword search retargeting is the reason for this. Keyword search retargeting allows you to serve ads to potential customers based on their online searches. Now, it's important to note that this data is being pulled from those searching within sites that have internal search programs. So this is not referring to searches that people are making on like Google or Bing. This has to be people that are searching with sites that have an internal search program. And then those sites also have to be using third-party sites that are collecting and releasing that search data. So an example of this would be like WebMD. So let's say that you compile a list of keywords and phrases related to your industry. You're just coming up with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of keywords that somebody could potentially be searching that would be your target audience. So if your target audience is searching for those keywords or phrases on these sites that have these search engines, then they quickly become somebody that is potential to have your ads served to. So if they're on WebMD searching for one of these keywords that you've identified, they can then become a potential target audience. So what we love about this tactic is that it's being served to people that are actively searching for things related to your industry. So they quickly become a higher likelihood of visiting your website or converting because they're in that buying journey. They're actively searching or seeking out information about it. So the example I like to use here is, if you are a nutritionist, you develop a list of phrases related to healthy eating, to dieting, to fitness. And if a user is online searching for those keywords in the geographic area that you identify on sites that have those internal search engines, they can then become a candidate for your targeting. Now, after keyword search retargeting, we've got keyword contextual targeting. So this is one that here at Hyport, we frequently love to just run this alongside of the keyword search campaign that I just mentioned. They pair really nicely with each other and just kind of hitting all of the different areas of search. So keyword contextual targeting searches for those same keywords and phrases that you identify. So you've got your list of keywords and phrases related to things that your target audience could be searching for. And you compile that list, and then you upload them also to this contextual targeting campaign. So what this does is it gives us the ability to target people that are visiting websites that have these words embedded inside of their articles on their website. So remember, the keyword search was they had to go and type in these keywords or phrases and be actively searching for it. With contextual, the user just has to be visiting a website that has those keywords or phrases present in their content. So let's say that you are a realtor and you develop a list of keywords or phrases related to the home buying and selling process and all the things that a potential target audience person could be seeing or engaging with. If this user ends up on a website like Zillow, and if it has your keywords and your phrases present within the content that consumer is reading, that user becomes a candidate for retargeting. So it doesn't mean that your ad is showing up on that website. It's not showing up on Zillow while they're on Zillow. But when they're done viewing it, when they're done viewing that content, your ad will then follow their behaviors and show up in front of them in the future, meeting them where they're at in their online journey. Now, the next one we're going to talk about, I told you guys there are a ton of tactics available in display, but the next one is going to be category contextual targeting. So we just spoke about that keyword contextual, which means that the word is present on the page. Category contextual targeting means that your ad is served only on pages categorically relevant to your target audience, your product, your business. So an example of this would be if you are a private school who wants to get more enrollment, you could identify categories related to parenting, preschool, K through 6, homeschooling, so on and so forth. You'll identify categories that your target audience would be interested in. And your ad will actually only show up on websites that fall into those categories. So remember, contextual targeting, right? Just the keywords and phrases that are on the site, and then the ad follows the user and shows up in front of them in other places. Contextual targeting is when the ad actually shows up on a site that is within the categories that you outline. Now, the next one, this is probably one of my most favorite tactics for display, and this is site retargeting. So another one that a lot of you are probably familiar with or have heard talked about before. So site retargeting serves ads to users who have already visited your website, have already landed on a specific page on your website, or have already taken a specific action on your website. So this gives us the ability to stay consistently in front of someone who has shown interest. And we know they've shown interest because they've landed on your website. They have taken some sort of action on your website previously. So in order to launch a site retargeting campaign, you must install a pixel on your website. It's embedded into your website. Once the pixel is installed, it starts to collect user device information. So anyone who lands on the website, the pixel fires, their device information is captured, and it's dropped into this audience pool. So every single time somebody visits the website, their device information is dropped into this audience pool. And then what you're able to do is you're able to then create a display campaign and use that audience pool as your targeting. So you're able to then serve ads to those people who have visited your website, clicked a certain button, landed on a certain page. So if you want to stay in front of them, you want them to continue, remembering who you are, thinking of who you are, site retargeting is going to be the best way to do this. I want them to come back and purchase something. So I want to continue to serve ads so that I can stay top of mind. Best practice here is that a pixel should always be installed on your website when running any kind of display tactics, because you never know, you could collect hundreds of thousands of devices that you could then use in the future for retargeting. So when in doubt, always add the pixel, always begin collecting user device information, because it's collecting anybody and everybody. It's not just going to collect people that end up there from clicking the ad. It's going to collect anybody and everybody who ends up where that pixel is installed. And this retargeting ad will then show up in front of them as they are active across the internet, keeping you consistently, constantly top of mind. So I'm going to go ahead and move away from campaign tactics. Those were a ton of really, really great tactics. Some of our favorite ones that we like to use, that we always recommend. There are more tactics available with display, but those are some of the most popular ones to reach the masses. But next thing I really want to talk about is how to design a successful ad. So you can have all your targeting down, know who you're trying to reach, but if you do not have an ad that is designed well and with intention, then the rest of that doesn't even matter. So as many of y'all know, having a powerful image and powerful copy in an ad that is present within this campaign is going to play a huge role in the success of this campaign. You cannot have a bad creative with a good strategy, and you cannot have a bad strategy and a good creative. You need both of them in order to reach the goals that you are trying to reach with these campaigns. So first, I'm going to start with, this you would think would be so obvious, but You want to make sure you're using high quality images and videos. So whether you're working with graphics, photos, videos, you want to make sure you've got high quality. If you've got grainy images or something that people don't understand because it's blurry, it's small, it's not going to be a great first impression. The likelihood of them wanting to take action is going to be a lot lower than if you've got good quality images involved in your ad. Second, visual elements to reinforce your brand identity. Think about your colors. Think about your logo. Think about fonts that you use within your business. The ad should reflect the same feeling that you get when you think about your business. So you want to use visual elements that really maintain brand consistency and brand image across all digital marketing efforts and across your physical business itself. Stop the scroll. You want to think bold and you want to think less is more. So one bold, bright image, bright color, something that's going to get people to stop what they were coming to the internet to do in the first place, right? If I came to online shop, you've got to have an ad that is strong enough to get me to stop my online shopping and want to go and see your ad and learn more about you. Remember, the users are not browsing the internet with the intention of being advertised to. So your visual is your opportunity to stop them. Next, know where your ad is going. This will affect so many different elements, from the sizes of the images you use to the overall messaging, the text. If you are choosing to only serve your ad on mobile devices, those ads are going to be a lot smaller than if you are also going to serve ads on desktop devices. So just keeping in mind where these ads are going to be served. If it is going to only be on mobile devices, they're smaller. You don't want to have images that are hard to understand what's happening in them. And lastly, less is more. With copy, when I say copy, I mean like the words that go on the ad. I think as business owners, sometimes there's that tendency to want to just put as much information as possible. I've got to tell them who I am and what I do and why I do it and why they need to work with me, but I promise once they get to your website, right, they will be able to figure all of that out. When they get to your website, when they come back and visit you, when they pick up the phone, they call you later on, right? You'll have the opportunity to share all of that. Your display ads purpose is to give them just enough information to spark curiosity, to make them want to learn more about who you are and what you do. So think catchy tagline, spark curiosity. Just get them to your website, get them to click on the ad. Once they get there, they can figure everything else out. So display ads are smaller in size. So best practice for copy and the way that your ad is going to look, best practice for creative is going to be use an image, right? Use your logo. So you've got image, logo, call to action, and tagline. So you can see here on this ad right here with Christie's Lighting, we've got the logo, we've got an image, a tagline, a call to action. It's short, sweet, simple, to the point. Your goal is to get someone to click the ad and visit the website. That is the intention with display ad. It is not intended to over-educate on everything that you do and all about who you are. A couple need to knows if you're thinking about exploring display. So display ads typically take anywhere from 15 to 30 days to really reach their full potential. So if you are monitoring a display ad and you're thinking, oh, it's not reaching enough people, it's not spending the way I want it to, it's not, so on and so forth, just give it some time. Just like most digital marketing efforts, you kind of got to give it that learning phase to really figure out, okay, how do we get in front of the right people? Who's actually taking action on this and how do we get in front of them? So do not expect to see, those instantaneous results. You got to give it time to really start to learn your target audience. Next, do not expect to see your ad even if you fall into the targeting criteria. So if we go back to that veterinarian example, right? I live in DFW. I cannot even imagine how many people live here and are pet owners. If I'm a veterinarian and I'm running that ad, I should not have the expectation to be served my ad just because I fall into that demographic. Ad serving is going to be based on a ton of different variables, including your budget, the area that you're targeting, how big it is, how niche it is, how many people there are, so on and so forth. The goal here and is the confidence. It's right. You should have confidence in knowing that if you have set your targeting up right and you've outlined who you want to reach, you're going to reach those people. You just might not always be one of the ones that gets reached, but have confidence in knowing that if you put those outlines in place, that is who the ad is going to be served to. Next, remember that the ad is meeting the user where they're at. So sometimes when you're looking at the websites or the domains that your display ad is being shown on, you might think, oh my gosh, why is this my ad for my pet store showing up on this random women's clothing boutique? I am not a clothing boutique. My ad should not be there. Or why is my ad showing up on this, children's app, whatever that looks like. I don't know why my ad is showing up on these places when it has nothing to do with my business. It's important to remember that display ads are all about your target audience's behaviors and interests, not yours. So even though I have a dog and the 70-year-old down the street from me has a dog, the ad that is being shown to him is going to show up in different places than it is going to show up for me because our online behaviors are different. And then lastly, just a couple of standard ad sizes. So when it comes to display, there are a ton of different locations within a page that within a website that a display ad can show up on. So you want to make sure that you have got variety in your ad sizes so that you increase the possibility of showing up in as many places as possible. So these are just some examples of some different ad sizes. Now, just like most digital marketing efforts, there are some industries that unfortunately fall into restrictions when it comes to utilizing display. So there are a ton of industries here. Some of you might be familiar with them, or you are in these industries that have restrictions. So firearms, gambling, marijuana, CBD, we've got restrictions when it comes to the verbiage and targeting for a lot of these industries. It can't link back to websites related to some of these restricted industries. Sometimes even coming down to the targeting that's available for these industries, that the verbiage related to these industries, so on and so forth. So again, for the sake of making the most of your time, it's important that you check, just see, does your industry have restrictions? Does it fall into a restricted category or a sensitive industry before you take the time to build out a campaign that ultimately might not work? So what do you need to keep in mind for targeting purposes? What does your creative need to look like? What are the do's and don'ts, the cans and can'ts related to your business when it comes to display? All right, 4 tips to drive sales. So I said earlier, display is a really great tactic for brand awareness. It definitely should not be relied on heavily for lead generation. But this does not mean that there's not potential for leads and conversions to come from your display ads. It is not the main objective. It's not the main conversation when it comes to display, but it could happen. So number 1, making sure that your website is up to date and your website is responsive. Display ads, when you click on it, is going to take you to a website or a landing page. So if I click on your ad and I'm brought to a website that is not user-friendly, it's outdated, it's sloppy, my first impression there is going to be, nope, I don't want to be here. I'm going to exit out of this. So making sure that your website is up to date and is very user-friendly is extremely important. Number 2, integrate video when you can. What is working for digital marketing right now is video. Video is just killing it across the digital marketing platforms. It is one of the best avenues for creative. It is a highly receptive tool to be getting in front of your target audience. It captures people's attention. People's eyes automatically go to movement. So video ads can be used for display. Couple tips here. Keep it short. No sound, sweet, simple, even if you just have movement. If you use some sort of animation where the text comes on the screen, it doesn't need to be like an actual play through video. It could just be an animation of text, so on and so forth. But it's not going to be somebody speaking. But if you just have that text moving, you just don't want it to be something that is going to require sound and people to stop and sit and watch, because that is not the purpose of display. The purpose is just capture someone's attention enough to pull them over while they're browsing. Next, effective call to action. So when we were talking about copy, a simple call to action, right? You want to ensure that your users know exactly what action you want them to take. Do you want me to click here? Do you want me to ask questions? Do you want me to learn more? You want me to book a consult? Just make sure you have got a call to action on your ad. That will increase and could increase likelihood to drive sales or conversions or leads, because you're telling your user, giving them a very clear outline of what you want them to do. And then lastly, think local. So location plays a significant role in the mobile and display world. So many of your customers are searching based off location, and a lot of those search engines will be using location to provide results. So think, where is your target audience? Where are they located? Where are they searching? Where are they visiting? And what is the best way for you to communicate to them? So the last thing I want to leave you guys with when it comes to measuring the success of a display ad campaign. So display ads, like I mentioned earlier, are typically served on in browser, on your computer, your tablet, your mobile device, and then they're typically served inside of apps. So historically, display ads have always been measured by CTR, which stands for the click-through rate, the percentage of users that are taking time to click on the ad and go to your website. Now, a lot of digital marketing agencies will use CTR as the primary KPI and will tell you to do the same. However, I want you to think about this for a second. When you are served an ad while you are inside of an app and an ad pops up, when you see the ad, how often, how many times are you actually stopping what you're doing inside of that app to click on the ad that shows up? So if you are using an app to guide you through yoga and an ad pops up, are you stopping yoga to click the ad? Or are you trying to click the really small X up in the corner of the ad and you accidentally click on the ad because the X is so small? Most of us, right, we fall victim to the latter. We see the ad, we try to exit it, but we accidentally click on it. Now, when someone accidentally clicks on an ad, it still counts as an impression. It still counts as money being spent by that business that is trying to advertise to you. It counts as one of the impressions that is served, even though it was an accidental click. So click-through rate can be valuable, but know that it is also including people that have accidental clicks. Now, the way to go around this is to track another metric and kind of go a different route with putting your display ads in front of your target audience. And this is by doing what we did here at Hyport, which was completely remove in-app ads. So we don't serve ads in apps because we want the clicks that happen on display ads to be intentional clicks, which I'm sure you do too. So by removing ads being served in apps, you are increasing likelihood of intentional action on these ads, people that actually go over and click on the ad. Now, when you do this, although that click-through rate decreases because you're eliminating accidental clicks, the other metric that is great to look at is what is referred to as view-through rate. So view-through rate refers to the percentage of people who see your ad, do not click on it, and then end up on your website sometime later on their own accord. They took the time to intentionally seek out your business after being served an ad, and they wanted to end up on your website. So if you're looking for a metric to track, view through is a really, really great metric to set your sights on. It'll give you a realistic idea of how frequently, how many people are seeing your ad and taking time to end up there, which in my eyes, in my professional opinion, means a whole lot more than someone who accidentally clicked on our ad. So I hope you were able to learn a ton about mobile and display, all of the different targeting capabilities, what's available for getting your business and your brand in front of the right people at the right time, the right place during their online behaviors. If mobile and display is not something you're implementing for your business, it should be.